3 hours, 0 minutes. Kip relieves himself against the American container. The Australian lets out a sigh of relief. Oh, you beauty. Needed me that one. The stream of urine evaporates almost immediately as it splashes onto the hot steel. Finished, he shakes himself dry and zips up his uniform. He looks down at his boots and notices one of them is soaked in urine, then glances over at his teammates and gives them a half-apologetic, "Oops." His teammates watch him in silence. He pads over to the white Humvee. "Yep, that sure feels a whole lot better." Kip stretches, then opens the Humvee's driver's side door and picks up a water bottle. He wanders back over to the container and sits down under a small area of welcome shade, then leans back and rests up against the steel. He gulps down a few mouthfuls of water. Fuck, it's hot. Every time I piss, I try and rehydrate. We gotta be losing at least a couple of pints an hour. Good for the kidneys. I read about that somewhere. You guys should try it. They reckon we're 70% water. Kip? An Australian asks. Yeah, mate. You just killed Levy. So? Did you hear what I just said? Yeah, and? Kip asks. And you've just killed someone. Mate, that scum wasn't human. He was a dog that needed putting down. I've done us and the world a favor. His gene pool ends here. Another Australian man pipes up. That's wrong, mate. I don't think so. But you've made yourself judge, jury, and executioner, the Australian says. Kip tips the bottle over his head, and the water spills down and washes away the remains of Levy's blood, then splashes onto the white ground and forms a small pink puddle next to him. He twirls his fingertip around in the sludge. I really don't give a fuck. He was vermin. In another place, that was murder you just gone and committed, the Australian says. Kip shrugs. Well, we're not in that place now. We're here, wherever the fuck this is, and so we get to play by a different set of rules. Murderer's murder. You're all wrong, mate, Kip says. You'd think I enjoyed doing that. The guy was deranged. He would have killed us all, or gotten us all killed. I've saved your lives. You should be thanking me, you dumb fucks. He washes the pink sludge from his fingers and wipes them dry on his uniform, then talks to himself. Did I enjoy doing that? Did I really enjoy doing that? That's actually an interesting fucking question, and one that I feel I am now perfectly qualified to provide a well-informed answer to. Kim glances over at the Australians. Sorry, talking to myself again. It's a bad habit I've recently acquired. You okay, mate? An Australian asks. Never felt better. Kim pauses, then says, I remember working with a guy who once said to me that he'd like to know how it feels like to kill someone. He shakes his head. It was a few years ago. I was in the office, getting a plastic coffee from the machine. Man, that coffee was shit, but it gave you an excuse to have a wander and look down some cleavage. You boys know what I'm talking about. Kim smiles for a moment at the memory, then continues. Anyway, I'm at the coffee station waiting for the pour, and there's this guy behind me, and we start talking. We were talking war movies, or some other shoot-up shit we'd seen on last night's TV. Comparing notes, what I liked, what he liked, the battles and the blood, blah blah blah. Kim makes himself more comfortable. He brings his knees up to his chest and rests his arms on both of them. Then he came right out and asked me, now, what the fuck was that guy's name? Fuck it, my memory. Kip shakes his head. It doesn't matter anyways. Where was I? Yeah, and so he says to me, wouldn't it be kind of great to know what it's like to pick up a gun and kill someone? So I says, you're fucking joking, mate. And he says, no, really, I'm being serious. I'd really like to know what it feels like to shoot and kill someone. Kip interrupts himself, picks something out of his ear, examines it, and flicks it onto the ground in front of him before he resumes. Then this guy, I think his name had something to do with gold. So anyway, this guy picks up his coffee, walks over to the fridge, and gets some milk out. And then he says to me all casual like, milk? I says, what? And he says, milk. You want milk in your coffee? So I thinks to myself, do I want some fucking milk? Really? Kip shakes his head. Looking back, I think that was a bit fucked up. 'Cause 1 minute he's talking about killing someone, then, in the same breath, he's offering me the semi-skimmed. A good family man coming out with that? I don't know. Maybe he was just like having a bad day at work or something. We all have bad days, right? But all the same, I thought it was really strange. Kip takes another drink, then says, every so often, I used to think about what this guy said to me. Fuck, I wish I could remember his name. No, it's not coming to me. I'd wonder if he ever did go and actually end up killing someone. Maybe he was one of those fucking psycho killers, with a shitload of bodies hidden under the floorboards and a few heads in the freezer. Well, you never know. I mean, do you really ever know someone? Then I think maybe it's a normal thing for all guys to think like that. That milk guy. Maybe it's a primitive killer caveman thing, you know, hidden in our genes, so we don't end up getting sectioned in some crazy house. Kip pauses for a breath, shuts his eyes, and talks some more. So then I figure that's why so many guys join the forces, because they can go and legally blow someone's brains out and know what it feels like. No jail time for them heroes. Hell, some of them even collect a medal for it. Well, that's okay, because they're fighting for the country, I suppose. You see them, when they get back home, their friends come up to them and say, hey Jake, I hear you had a good tour of duty, killed a few of them bad guys over there. And they shake Jake's hand, pat him on the back, and buy him a few beers. Pretty bizarre. Murderers murder. Oh, but not when it's legalized murder, right? Kip takes another drink, opens his eyes. So now I know what it feels like, and I fucking hate to say this, it felt pretty good. No guilt, no pain. I'm actually pretty disappointed with myself. He pauses for a few seconds, then says, does anybody know what's missing around here? Silence. The Australians shake their heads. I'll tell you what's missing. There's a distinct lack of foliage. That's what's missing. It's like New York, but in reverse, if you know what I mean. Any one of you ever been to New York? The Australians continued to gawk at Kip. Oh, you should go. It's really a great city, but concrete fucking everywhere. And then you walk into Central Park, and all the streets and buildings and shit and grime and stress just disappear. Kip stops, thinks, and then laughs. It's a forest. It's a big fucking forest right in the middle of it all, and it's beautiful. You could be in the French countryside and you'd never know the difference. Fucking unbelievable. He picks up his pistol. I reckon life's like that, like New York. Every so often, when you feel pretty good and things are going your way, you're living in a little bit of that French countryside. But the rest of it's hard and brutal and dull as fucking concrete. Everything's killing each other to survive. It pisses me off. Then there's us. 4 billion years of evolution to get to the top of the food chain, and we end up being the planet's lethal fucking mutation. Where are you going with this, mate? Another Australian asks. Andy Knox, Kip says. Who? Kip explains. The milk guy. He was called Andy Knox. I knew it was something to do with gold, Fort Knox and gold. Yeah, Andy. He's a small bloke with big personal hygiene issues. He had a thick beard that had things living in it. He laughs and then asks, what was that question again? I said, where are you going with this? The Australian repeats the question. Oh yeah, that was it. Well, this thing that you're in the middle of, this, wake up in the middle of fucking nowhere without a clue thing, means that you're going to have to kill a whole load more people. People you don't know. And I'm thinking most of them will be just like us. Good people. Probably like the Americans. Kip reaches over behind him and taps the orange container with his pistol. That came out of this here container. They're out there somewhere, looking for codes. And like you guys, they won't have much time left. You're going to have to find each other. And then you'll have to kill them before they kill you. That's the game. No doubt they'll have found some codes. You can bet on that. Your only chance is to track them down and do whatever it takes to get those codes. Are you guys ready to do that? Don't you mean we, us? You keep saying you guys. It's we. We're in this together. We go and find the Americans together, right? The Australians ask. Me? No, mate. I'm actually pretty fucking tired. Kim puts the pistol up against his temple and pulls the trigger.